Today we're going to be doing a quick video on getting into sewing and how to make sewing your friend. I personally I've always wanted to sew. I always thought that I wanted to make my own clothes. I had such high aspirations as far as creating with a sewing machine. It's been a couple years since I've had a machine, and today I just want to kind of talk to you about breaking through those barriers that make it difficult for you to be comfortable with sewing. First of all, you need a really annoying cat that likes to play with all of your little small pieces. For example, my cat, anytime I'm going to start sewing, like no matter where she is, she could be just taking a huge nap after a feast, and she'll somehow find her way to all of a sudden be really intrigued with everything that I possibly do. As you can see, she just can't stay away from it. So it's really a cat magnet. Okay, secondly, purchasing a sewing machine. Now, up until about 2 years ago, I never really had much money. I'm not gonna lie, I was in college, so buying a sewing machine, even if it was gonna be a used ones don't come with manuals, so even if I wanted to save money that way, you know, what am I supposed to do? So, yeah, I purchased my sewing machine for less than $100 brand new, and it's a Singer Simple, and it came with a DVD, which was really helpful because my roommate in college had her own sewing machine that was pretty much brand new, but the one major hurdle we couldn't get past was how to thread it. You know, that's the first barrier. You know, where do I get one? How, you know, I would recommend definitely getting a new one, just because it is going to be coming with not only a warranty, but with the DVD or instructions, and you're going to know exactly like how old it is and how much it's been used. In the same way you would do that with a car? Not really, but that's just my advice. So here's the sewing machine, Singer Simple. I purchased this sewing machine in 2008, so it is a few years old. Okay, now that you've quarantined your cat, you can begin learning how to thread your sewing machine. So what you're gonna need, just to know, familiarize yourself. Right here there are, let's start with the top. Right here you have a part, like a rod, where you're gonna put your spool of thread. This part right here is where you're going to thread your bobbin. The bobbin is your second spool of thread that is going to be underneath the sewing machine. Well, underneath, sort of. And here you're going to have a number of different kind of knobs or hooks that are going to help you thread. Right here is where your needle is going to be, and this, like I said, is where the bobbin will be placed underneath. Here's one of your bobbins. It looks like this. It has a little metal arm on the side. And, well, I'm not exactly sure. This is not called the bobbin, but this is where the bobbin goes. This little tiny clear spool that goes inside, and that's located underneath. Your larger spool of thread is going to go up here on this rod that I mentioned before. The next thing you're going to need that I highly recommend is a ironing board and iron. I have kind of like a craft iron and a smaller ironing board. This is going to help you create those really crisp seams and really crisp lines when you're sewing. When I first started sewing, I would just not care and skip this step, but honestly it makes all the difference when you are creating, or when you're sewing for any type of accuracy, which, unless you're creating an art project, everything should be more or less accurate. This is seriously the cheapest iron you can, please don't snip the iron, it's hot. This is the cheapest iron that you can get at Walmart, I believe, and this ironing board, I believe, was $4 at IKEA. Selecting the fabric that you want to use, I really recommend trying to scour for coupons or places in your area are going to help you save a little money. Fabric stores are notorious for having sales, and I would recommend stocking up when those sales go on. Recently I just was at a sale at Joann Fabrics where they had 25% off of fabric for teachers, and they have another coupon for 20% off just for anyone. So a couple of the fabrics that I picked up, you can also pick up remnants if you want to practice. A remnant is just a piece of fabric that there's like a leftover piece, and usually you can find them really like wound up tightly with a paper wrap around them that will say you know, whatever price, and they're usually up to 50% off of the price per yard. So this right here is a remnant that I'm going to be using for some caftan I'm going to try to make. Today I just really like this fabric. This fabric was more expensive. You'll find that the fabrics that have more intricate designs or certain materials are going to be more expensive. So this right here has a Japanese motif that I really liked, and so today I'm going to decide to make a headband with it, just because I had to have this fabric and it was kind of expensive, so I just bought 1/4 of a yard of it, and it's going to be a headband. You can also find fabric at thrift stores. However, if for example, if you're really liking that vintage, you know, vintage style, however, sometimes those fabrics can have a little bit of a smell. If you want to wash them first, maybe you don't care, it depends on what it's for. And also, if you're just starting out and looking for scraps, you can look for curtains, old dresses, things that you don't use anymore. If you just want to practice, you don't even need to really buy any fabric. My very last tip is, if you want to continue to be someone who is, you know, an artist of any type, whether it's sewing, fine art, whatever it is, it's important to always stay inspired. So I would recommend creating some kind of idea file, whether it's a journal, a binder where you clip things out and put things in those plastic sleeves, just so you always are constantly being inspired. That's going to cause you to just feel more motivated to continue creating and have that kind of lifestyle. And lastly, if you are lucky enough, if you have an office or a studio or any kind of space where you can have your sewing machine out and ready to use, for me, one of the reasons why I don't sew as much as I'd like to is that it's on a shelf in the back of my closet, and our house is really small right now, so it's out of sight and out of mind unless I come up with an idea. So you know, right now I can't personally help that just because there literally is no space. But if there's any way you can keep it out on a dresser, a desk, just so you can see it, that's going to also just keep you that much more motivated. And yes. My extra tip: a lot of local places, like here in Austin, there's Joann Fabrics and Hobby Lobby, and there's this place called the Stitch Lab, which is actually like this cool sewing education, a sewing education company, I guess you could say. Try to take classes. Just try something you haven't tried before. Get to know how to really do something like piping or sewing for slipcovers for your furniture. If you're someone who feels like you're wasting time unless you're doing something functional, then maybe that's, you know, the way to go. So just please stay inspired. Let me know if there's anything else I can help you with, and whether you like this video, please subscribe and let me know how I can help you.